What's going on, guys? Hey, Repeat back, and it is Monday night. Normally not a night that I'm online, a little bit of a special stream for you. We've all been taking part in this Fast Family Showdown. Round one was great, 21 different races, 42 different communities, only 21 are moving on. Well, tonight we're bringing you those 21 people that are going to be going on, finding out where they're going. The schedule, from what I know, isn't 100% set yet, but the team versus team and all that is about to come out. Welcome along. In the booth with me is going to be none other than Sly Job and Ford Tough. Guys, both of your admins for this showdown done a great job so far. Sly Job, Ford Tough, how are y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Man, I can't complain. You asked me, or you sent out a message yesterday asking who wanted to set this up. Well, I'm glad that I could be here. Unfortunately, Rick James can't, though. He's trying to save a kitty from a tree, literally. But, man, Ford, how about you?
Sitting in the dark right now, but we are doing all right.
Well, at least it's dark. The sun's not blaring on your roof. You're not sweltering. You're doing all right. So there's a silver lining around that cloud.
You got that right.
Yeah. So Sly Job, talk us through this process, please.
Yes, sir. So we are, first of all, we're very pleased to have you. We kind of threw together a live stream for the first one. It was haphazard, but we got the information out this time. We have the pleasure of you helping us out and giving the viewers some visuals tonight. So, tonight we're going to be doing the round one recap show. So we're going to start out with, just take a look at some highlights and going through, all of the great races that we've just witnessed. There were such a ton, and I know that a lot of the fans and even some of the drivers wasn't able to catch up with the rest of the races. I mean, there were, like you said, there were 21 races over the span of 14 days. Combined, there was 2,694 laps run.
Wow.
On all those mile and a halves. Yes, we went to every single one, a couple multiple times, actually all of them at least twice, a couple 3 times. So we gave everybody a variety of the tracks that NASCAR Heat has to offer in the mile and a half category. So you'll definitely see that. But yeah, let's just jump right into this. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from races number 1 through 7.
All right, 1 through 7, starting off with the NNR race. Here we go.
Well, here we go. Green flag at Kansas with NNR Rowdy in the 29 starting things off.
Yeah, Rowdy and more smoke on the front row. Going to head through off 3 and 1 and 2 already. Kind of getting thrown off, watching all the action in the back. But Rowdy looks like he's going to have that preferred line, get on down. More smoke's got that high side. We're going to see just how important that momentum off the high side really is as they're coming to complete their first lap under green, fellas.
Out of the fourth corner, 29 leading the race in that yellow, blue, and red spoiler KBB Camaro. 3 Camaros and a Mustang sitting in the top 4. Drivers making use of the low line. Side by side, 2x2, 6 rows deep out of the second corner. Fight for the lead up front, Atlanta.
Yeah, here we go. And I know somebody said you can't see some of the numbers, but we'll be trying to get a look overhead a lot of the race, and you can see the numbers a little.
Leading with a mirror full of green logo. Painter in the number 28 Davey Allison Mustang right up his tailpipe. The red and yellow Aris Chevrolet of Aviator moving into third. He knows how to get around to more smoke, Atlanta. Crossing the line, I believe it's now 4 laps to go. Boehner to the inside.
Yeah, 28 of Boehner trying to make a move here. 4 laps to go. Can he get the Aviator, give him a little push, or is the Aviator going to go with who he know has been fast all night, which is a more smoke, and he does. But now the Aviator to the inside, leaving Boehner to the top side as well, and he's trying to make something work. We saw him pull away pretty easily earlier, so can he do that now?
They come out of the fourth corner, Pete, a little bit of contact. They're just trading paint between Amore Smoke and Aviator. These two have been dominant all night long. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Aviator tried a little bit of a slide job on that last lap. Amore Smoke able to keep that car wound up on that high side. Aviator had a little bit of help from the 28 of Boehner, but that brought all 4 cars back together, coming to the 3 and 4, coming to the line. 1 lap to go. White flag is going to be in the air.
ATL white flag in the air. It's Amore Smoke, Boehner, and Aviator. 1, 2, 3. Camaro, Mustang, Camaro. Who's going to take home the first win in the Fast Family League Showdown?
Well, as this group of in-and-out drivers rounds turn 2, led by Amore Smoke. Onto the back straightaway, it looks like Passable gets a little bit into the wall. And now the 28 of Boehner probably going to make a move right here, and he does. But he is not going to have much help. It looks like Amore Smoke and the Aviator are going to be pushing each other. And Amore Smoke is going to cross the start-finish line and be the winner of Round 1, Race 1 of the Fast Family Racing League.
Good old-fashioned race. Good old-fashioned slobber knocker, and see who comes out on top.
You just bring out new sayings all the time. I love it.
I don't know if that one's new. I think that one's from like the 20s, so the 1920s. So.
That's old, J-Mac. That's very old. All right, here we go. We are loading in for Kentucky Speedway. 134 laps of craziness. Top 9 drivers are eSpark. And here we go. We're on board with Mr. Track Bar 33, and these guys are green. Track Bar has a nice little lead out there underneath. But man, oh man, these guys are side by side, and we're going to see a ton of this going into the first few laps. But they are looking really good so far, and I can't wait to see how these guys do. It's going to be awesome, J-Mac.
It's going to be awesome. The front 4 getting single file, already pulling away the 37 of Track Bar with the 42 of Big John, known as one of the more aggressive drivers out there. Going to be fun to watch him tonight with the 16 of Fluffy, with the 62 of Asylum behind.
Almost 5 wide at one point, but these guys have been absolutely amazing for competitor. Genesis Sports League and the battle with eSpark at Kentucky. It's been an incredible race, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed it. But eSpark out here are just, looks like, yeah, white flag right here, but man, eSpark has got it so far here tonight.
Yeah, ooh, a little contact with the wall on entry to turn 1. The 37, even with that massive lead and only 1 lap left, he's still trying to hot lap that thing. He wants that gap as much as possible. He wants to brag about that screenshot as much as he can. You know how much he loves to brag. He's going to have a lot to brag about after this one. He's going to win on presets. Mr. Track Bar is going to take it off at turn 4, lead him to the line. Mr. Track Bar, your winner tonight.
He is your winner. He crosses the line. Great job to Track Bar. We're going to see how everyone...
We'll see who's going to be able to take these stages, take that overall checker at the end, find out who's going to be advancing, find out who's going to be going home. Here we go, though, in the restart zone. One more time, sir, if you please.
Pete, my pleasure. The 12 of Stout Whiskey in the Jack Link's Mustang with the foot through the floorboard, green flag finally through the air, and for the 3rd time being the charm, Pete, we are racing at Kansas. 12 leading the 21 out of the 2nd corner, 11 Camry sitting down there in 3rd place. That's Beast Hunter in the 21 following right behind the 12, 2 by 2 for a couple rows deep, cars jostling and weaving into the 3rd corner. Heat still not in the tires out of this 4th corner, Pete. Looks like the 12's going to lead the first lap.
Yeah, 12's going to lead the first lap. 21, very, very close to his back bumper. 3 car of Dan DeLon, man, just kind of riding right there, heading down through, cutting that apron a little short.
Currently running through this field, and it's been a muck out on the racetrack. Pete, this is not how we wanted this race to end, but the official news coming from the commissioner of the league, Sly Job, the race is over. Checkered Racing eliminated for reckless driving. NAOR moving on to round 2.
Well, this is definitely not the way that NAOR would have wanted to win, but I do see, we've been able to keep up with some of the
into who's around them, but you can understand it's the greatest tournament in racing, the Fast Family League Showdown. This is only going to be race 4 of countless with these 40-plus leagues participating. So Atlanta, I would keep my eye on just how close the racing is in the first few circuits.
Nice, Parker. Well, good luck here tonight as we are about to go green here at Kansas. Cars are going to take a lap around the track, so we've got that caution up for you, and then we will be underway. So we're going to try to have that pace car in here again tonight like we were talking about the other night, but unfortunately he lagged out during the beginning of the race. And as you know, if you're a NASCAR Heat 5 player, if that league or party has gotten going in that race and you lag out at the beginning, unless you've got a couple of guys with you. Oh, well, a little bit. I guess we are going green. I thought they were doing a lap around the track. We're already green, guys. Boogity boogity.
Already through the third corner. 18 did get into the wall, Joker. That was a good call out. 48 leading him out of the first corner already. 11 to the inside, 10 to the outside. Leading the first lap, we're going to have the 48 Ally Camaro followed by the 10 Smithfield Mustang.
Chrome Prince on the top track right now in the 48. Sorry about that earlier. Thought the race was going to have a cautionary lap before, but that was not the case, as 48 is leading this single file.
Just sit where I am in the catbird seat and just, run the race out, and hopefully it stays under green.
What was an amazing lead for Wolfpack Racing is now being whittled down. Xcade with heavy contact out of the fourth corner. He's given up 2 positions to 3CL. Xcade trying to make his way back up to the front, but only time will tell once the points have been tabulated. Coming around, the 43 of Way Too Fast in the Sunoco Camaro picks up the line and the mark with 2 laps to go in this one.
Man, I am so proud of that 43 car from coming back from that altercation right there on pit road to leading this race now. That is something else. That is the kind of driving I like to see. He doesn't give up. He doesn't take no for an answer, and that has gotten him into that first place position as he's big contact right there into the wall. And that might, he's going to have to do some blocking now to the 20 car, and the 20 car is now trying to get around with contact right there as well. 43 pulling out into turn 1, and I believe this is the final lap, right, Rick James?
3 wide for the lead. Last lap coming out of the second corner. Contact between the teammates, the 43 and the 20, hitting each other side by side into one. Atlanta, it's going to be a dogfight for the win. 20 making his move on the outside, 43 steady on the inside.
Well, I'm going to get an overhead view. 43 crossing that start-finish line. He is going to be your winner here. Way Too Fast for you with the 20 right behind. What a...
He started on the pole.
Is that 2 cars?
Well, he's still in the lead. We are hearing potentially a brewing. We are waiting for an official call on that.
We will stay green here as we come out of turn 2, the 88 in the lead. But this time, instead of the 6 on his backside, he does have the 42 there. And that 42 car does drive for Quarantine Racing League. So now you have that 88 of Jeremy from Carolina Racing League and the 42 right behind him of KB420 Racing. Behind him is that number 1 of the Quarantine Racing League. And in 4th place will be that number 9 or... up until a moment ago, was that number 9 of the CRL Sam, the owner of the Carolina Racing League.
These guys are representing well. I want to try to see if I can look back a little bit. About 9th, 10th place. These guys still racing. They're kind of team up towards the front, especially around your leader. He's doing a pretty good job holding off right now. But further on back,
yeah, that 88 is holding a smooth line with that 42 trying to find every possibility to get up to him and is getting close. 18 car coming into turn 3 that can possibly get the lead from that first place position.
Well, and I tell you what, as we close in on the white flag right here, these boys are going
the 11,
especially the 6.
white flag here with the 11 car in the lead, the 24, the 3, the 6 there in the top 4. The 6 will be the first Quarantine Racing League driver to come to it. That come around turn 4, the 11 car will have the lead. Top 3 CRLs, they're going to fan out trying to take the lead from each other, and the 11 car will win it for Carolina Racing League in this number 5 race here at the Fast Family League Showdown.
All right, grab me those screenshots. I'll get the points tallied up. I do have to say, Turbocharged, man, you had a great call, man.
I'm gonna say this. Shout out to the 11 once again. Came back from a pass-through penalty, got a caution, got himself back in the lead lap.
Yeah, that was awesome racing by everybody. I know there was some
through the 4th corner and coming across the line one more time.
Can you take the graphics off?
Nifty Agenda in leading the race, the number 9 of Richie C USA in second. Third being contested between Mark the Fat Shark and LX in the number 10, and now the white number 11 car of Mushbrains making his way into 4th place. Mustang, Camaro, Mustang, your top 3. Through the 3rd corner, the 22 leads the 9, leads the 10.
Yeah, the top 2 will put a nice gap, about maybe a half second over LXTX7. That's the lead car right now in for WRL at the moment. Keep going through the field here. First battle on the track. Here comes the 18 of Mark the Fat Shark inside, and no, him and Mushbrains are not teammates. They're battling. Big risk to the team points. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. There goes the 32. Oh, he's coming down, I think. I think he's coming down.
32 of Twisted Navy is coming in. He's the only Thursday night driver coming down. He is wickedly loose down on that apron, trying to avoid coming up. White flag is in the air. 1 car leading the 21, leading the 2.
Final lap, 1.5 miles to go at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's 21.
2 to go. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
All right, 3 miles remaining. So now the popsicle sticks are up this time. 21 car trying the inside, and let's see, he's down and coming down pit road. Let's see what happens. He lays back on the 1 as they go into turn number 3. Just 1.25 laps to go. Here they come to the white, Rick. It's all you.
Jacket in the 1, leading the 21 of Davy Jones, the number 2 of COT Tommy, the 77 of Dirt to Daytona, and the number 24 of Mike. This is what they race for. Less than 1 mile remaining in Hampton, Georgia. The 1 of Jacket, 2 tires under the yellow line. It's wrecked multiple drivers tonight. The 21 of Davy Jones to the inside of the 1. Half a lap remaining.
They still have
Only
one more lap.
Will tell.
Still have one more lap.
Oh, they get together.
The two makes contact on the inside. The 2's loose. The 1 gets into the wall. Heavy contact between teammates. The 21 coming to the line. No more tires for the 1, and across the line. The race is over. The 21 of Davy Jones winning it, as the 1 of Jacket had nothing left. He must have run out of fuel, and the 21 of Davy Jones coming ahead. He wins race 6 in the first round of the Fast Family League Showdown. What a finish. the 37 Camaro from winning this race. 3 wide for second place, a 4-car fight for second, and once the 32 joins them, it'll be a 5-way fight. It's the money lap, the bell lap, the white flag is in the air. OMA going to take home an impressive win, but Trippy Tricks in the 37, an even more impressive lead coming out of 2, and unless he messes it up in 3 and 4, it's going to be an impressive gap to first.
The 37 rounding the 4th turn here, and the final one that he will have to round to win it for the OMA team to move on to round 2. And it is over as he crosses the line and celebrates an epic victory here tonight at Kentucky. I do want to thank all of you for sticking it out and watching this race. We're going to take a moment and take a break. Congratulations to OMA and to Trippy Tricks on his win. We're going to take just a small break, and we'll be right back with some interviews with the OMA racing team.
All right, so yeah, that was races 1 through 7. Pretty good highlights. Again, it all kicked off with NNR, and man, Slide Job and Ford Tough. That was some pretty good racing all the way around.
Yeah, we definitely saw it all. I mean, we saw great races. We saw some dominant performances. We saw some close finishes, some fuel strategy and tire strategy, and even some hard races. Yeah, absolutely. We saw it all in just that first 7 races. So let's go through a little bit. So we'll start and we'll just say a few words about each one and kind of recap. So what did you see, Pete, in that first race against NNR?
Well, to be 100% honest, and I said this a few times during the stream that night, prior to the kickoff race, NNR had actually had a couple of practice races against the other team, and the other team was really more about using the low line, and they were saying they can get around fast on the low line, and I and other people in NNR said, no, the real high line is where you want it to be. And I thought for sure that when it actually came time to the race, what the main guy from the other team, he's also got a broadcast.
Rusty Walrus?
Yeah, there you go, Rusty Walrus. I thought for sure when they all saw Rusty move up to the high line in that practice that they were all going to try to replicate that over the next couple days where they had time to really tune in on their setups, their presets, whatever they had to do to keep up with Rusty on that high side. But no, NNR ended up running away, grabbing a real fast 409 point bar setting total. And we saw some later on come on down and challenge and actually get better than the NNR points. But that was really what stuck out to me most, that the other team didn't take that practice a little bit more to heart and navigate up to that high line to be a little bit more competitive. What about you?
Absolutely. I think from my perspective, I think you said it best. The words that resonate for me for that race is set the bar. I mean, and not just NNR's amazing performance, but by both teams. Both teams performed excellently. I think there was only 2 cautions in that race. I mean, they were super clean, fantastic driving, and in my honest opinion, All-American got underrated because of who they went against. I think if you put them against some of the other teams in the first round, they might be sitting here in the second round. So, it's from my perspective, fantastic on both sides, and it was definitely a big win for NNR. With a More Smoke taking the victory and Rusty Walrus carrying the banner for All-American. But, so much talent in that race, and what a way to kick it off.
Yeah, so, I think that was actually one of the only races that went caution-free, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there was maybe 1 or 2, but they were very minor. You didn't see, half the field getting into it. I think it was just a couple things in the back, if any. If I recall. But again, that was 2 weeks ago. It seems like forever ago that we started this thing. But moving on, we're going to talk to Ford about this one. So Ford, the second race that we saw up there was the East Spark GSL race, where we really saw, GSL's true colors in that race, just how fast they are as a total group. Tell us what you saw in that race.
I saw total domination. I saw Track Bar leading all 3 stages, grabbing the most points for eSparks. It was just a lot of teamwork. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew the right calls, when to pit, everything. GSL struggled a little bit with the teamwork. I think they got into a little bit of trouble throughout the race, but they were still able to score quite a bit of points with Alex, bringing up being their highest scoring guy with the 30 points for them. But everybody was right there. They still, even though they weren't up there in the front, they still put on a good race.
Yeah,
besides getting
absolutely.
into a little bit of trouble, but it was still a great race.
I think the main thing that stuck out to me in that race was the desperation, because I think from that first stage, GSL noticed that it seemed like they were outgunned. I mean, just once Track Bar, Fluffy, and Slade and a couple others got out front there and started running in a line, I think it really frightened them. And we saw some crazy strategies where some guys were staying out. I remember even one memorable moment. Unfortunately, we weren't able to show it in the highlights, but I remember when the 20 car jumped out on the front there by not pitting and ended up blocking Track Bar all the way to the apron. It was some crazy desperation moves. I mean, I gotta say, GSL definitely did not go down easy. It was definitely
they put up a fight.
Absolutely, but in the end, eSpark racked up enough points to sit on top for almost the whole tournament. They were only dethroned towards the end. So, I mean, you want to talk about domination.
Yep.
That was one of them. But hats off to GSL and those guys. They definitely fought hard there. And next, we're going to move on to, it was race number 3. This was actually the shortest race, unfortunately. Pete, what did you see in the NAOR Checkered Racing League race?
Wow, yeah, NAR led by the one and only J-Pa. I tell you, that was a great race. What I thought was going to set out to be a great race. Me and Rick James settled in the booth. We thought we were going to see a lot of great driving around Kansas Motor Speedway, but unfortunately it ended up as probably the one sole real black eye during the tournament, where a guy just couldn't take instruction from his team owner, and it ended up where eventually the entire team ended up being disqualified. But Stout Whiskey in the beginning there, he grabbed the lead. He had a pretty good handle on things. A lot of the NAR guys were running up top. I would have really loved to see if, after some pit changes and whatnot, if they would have been able to maintain, or if the other team would have come from behind and shown something a little bit later on in the race. Maybe a mixed bag during the points.
Absolutely. I mean, it was heartbreaking to see that too, because hats off to Clemson Fan and Even Ford, because those two guys were actually running on Stout's bumper for most of that race, and the two of them really were putting on a show, and it was going to be a tight battle as far as the points go. It's a heartbreaking that had to happen, but the silver lining, I guess, to that race was that it really set the tone for what we expect for teams as far as sportsmanship and as far as following track instructions and following officials and all that. We definitely have been upholding a good quality of racing in this tournament. So, I think it really served as a reminder to everyone that, we expect people to take it seriously and put their all into it. And just one driver can mess a whole team up. So, there is a silver lining there. And, NAOR did get the win there. But shout out to a couple of those guys. They were definitely fast on the other side. So we wish that one could play out, but nevertheless, that did happen. So moving on, Ford, let's talk about that fourth race. the Wolfpack Checker Chasers League. That was the first race where we actually saw a head-to-head battle and not a runaway. You know, it was down to the wire with that one. So why don't you take us through that one a little bit?
Yeah, that was a lot of giving and taking, and all those guys were being very respectful to each other. And it was just straight up battles all over the track. I mean, you just couldn't keep your eyes on one person because there was people all over that track, battling for those positions. And in the end, there could only be one winner. And Wolfpack was able to bring home that win, with a grand total of 348. But the Checker Chasers put up a heck of a fight. I mean, the points totals between the drivers, I mean, was not that significant. I mean, so nobody ran away with anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. I think my favorite part of that race was, we really saw the pressure get to drivers, and not just from the other team. Because if you guys remember, if you guys remember from the highlights, you saw the 43 car on the last lap with two teammates behind him. No reason to really, get a lot of pressure on yourself, making mistakes, getting into the wall, losing what little lead he had, and then it was almost a drag race to the finish. So that was a crazy race, and we just see the pressure on these drivers to perform well, even if the only people behind them are their teammates. So that was really the first race where we started to see that, and it was really awesome to see. And yeah, both teams did fantastic in that one. And
it kind of makes me wonder if they had that same talk that Duke gave us. If you hit the wall, if you wreck somebody, you're gone. I wonder if they had that talk too.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's definitely a good formula. You don't. The biggest thing that I harped on to at least my guys and some of the other teams too is don't beat yourself. Because we saw, and we'll get to it where we've seen teams beat themselves. It wasn't the track, it wasn't the other team. It was the mistakes. Things that you can control. Maybe speeding on pit lane. I mean, those are big ones. So. But let's move on here. Let's talk to Pete about the other highly contested one in the round. It actually came down to I think it was a 2-lap shootout between Carolina Racing League and Quarantine Racing League. What did you see with that one?
I mean, QRL and Carolina, they were absolutely really close. I think we had actually talked a little bit about that stream, how that was probably the most contested during that whole clip, where there was a lot of great side-by-side points were kind of back and forth, whole lot of great racing all the way around. I wasn't actually on that stream. I really only off of the clips. I think maybe I caught a little bit of the actual stream that night just to kind of see what was going on in chat and whatnot. But man, just from the clip and kind of what I remember, you gotta think, 21 races.
That was a lot of races.
They all kind of tend to blend in a little bit with each other. But man, just off that
absolutely.
clip and what I remember, I feel bad for you guys. That was a lot of great side by side, and the points were really close if I recall correctly.
Absolutely, and yeah, the points were at the end of the day 326 to 303, and I think. Part of that had to do with, remember the first couple of races that we saw in those clips were from Kansas and Kentucky, where we saw a different style of racing, where, they're a little bit more technical based. So you saw, some people getting some separation, towards those long runs. But this was the first at Chicago. And, with the draft and with, how one lane Chicago can get sometimes. I mean, it was really a dogfight, and we ended up, seeing just a few cautions at the end that ended up leading to such a competitive finish. So, I think
and that was
really
with penalties that 11 came back and won that race.
Yep.
Yeah, big one. Good. I'm glad that you mentioned that. A lot of people talked early on in the tournament, what if I get a penalty? That could completely ruin my race. And early on, this was only, I believe, the 5th race in. We saw somebody go from the back a lap down all the way in the front and win the race. That was turbocharge.
Actually, at one point, he was 2 laps down because I remember calling that race. He was 2 laps down, and he played his strategy just right to where he was able to get those laps back and come back for that win.
Absolutely. Yeah, he really showed, that, if you can get cautions to fall the right way and, you can manage your race, you can make up for mistakes. So, that was a really cool performance by him to see that happen. And then moving on to race number 6. So, Ford, I know you were very excited to be a part of this one since, TNT has been one of the leagues that you've run in the past, but we joked about this one that a storm was brewing. We have thunder and lightning because Thursday Night Thunder took on White Lightning. I mean, what could be more of a perfect matchup than that? And the fact that it came down to such a fantastic finish.
Well, there's an old song before you answer that. It says, "Thunder's just a noise, boys. Lightning does the work." It didn't seem to work out quite so, in that order for that race. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Thunder came in first on that one. But yeah, I mean that race was so amazing. I mean both teams showed what they had and showed how competitive they can be. Mark the Shark, he dominated. He had a little bit of lag issue, at some points in the race, but he ended up finishing really well. Nifty Agenda, he had a small lag issue, but he put on a really good show. I seen him in the back, and then he was at the front, and everybody just showed how strong that they could be at those 1.5 miles, and going into the road courses, I can't wait to see what they do at the road courses and who they go against, because they absolutely had good strategy. Both teams had good strategies, and the points were really close. They were within 58 points, so it wasn't that far off, as far as the points go. So I can't wait to see these guys at the road courses and see what they can do.
Absolutely. And it was our first race at Atlanta. So, we really didn't know what to expect. We saw a lot of blocking the bottom as we saw in the further Atlanta races. So it was definitely interesting to see how they were attacking the track. We saw a ton of different leaders. We saw a couple from both teams. You mentioned Mark and Nifty Agenda was another one. But neither of them ended up winning the race. Davy Jones ended up getting that one, and we'll talk about that finish. But we saw Dominator and Mush Brains up there as well from the other team. But, what a finish that was. You saw it in the clips first that, Jacket ended up leading that one and blows a tire coming to the checkered and somehow keeps it off his teammates and the other cars around him, comes 3 wide in the middle, and somehow saves that car to not only keep it off other people, to get to the finish and still end up finishing third. So, I mean, how crazy of a finish was that, and how big of a day was it for Davy Jones, who, at this point, we heard from him, had never won a race in his home league of TNT, wins it on the biggest stage. I mean, what a day for that young man, and, what a day for both teams. I mean, that was crazy. So, moving on, let's wrap it up with race number 7. Pete, what did you think of that Rowdy Energy OMA race?
Again, just kind of off the cliff, clip. Yeah, I think that was actually the way that it went, right? But
the proper term.
Yeah. Wasn't really a whole lot to say about that as far as I went. Just a couple more leagues that really tried their best to make this entire showdown shine. 2 teams that tried, but unfortunately one just kind of let their emotions get the best of them, I think.
Yeah, I think that's really what it came down to. It was a tight battle early on, and I know, Rowdy Energy was matching or, at least, chasing OMA pretty close, but at the end of the day, we don't know. We never got to speak with them, but whether it was frustration, whether it was, just, I don't know whether the track was beating them, but, unfortunately, you know, the Rowdy Energy squad just wasn't able to put together a complete race, and that's where OMA shined.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And that's just a reminder that it only takes one person to put you out of one race. And, you know, we didn't want to call that because those guys were very excited to be there, but, you know, it only takes that one guy. And I don't know his fate right now, but hopefully they'll come back and run again with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, moving on with that, let's take a look at some more clips. So let's check out races 8 through 14 and see what you guys think.
All right, guys, here we go. Races 8 through 14, kind of middle of this pack. And here we go, guys.
Just when people start to pit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Harvick, I wish every league would implement that rule that you have to be down on the apron going into 3. That on any track. Oval, that is.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump up to the front here, see what we've got for our starters. Looks like it's going to be the 21 of Zachary.
Here we go.
7,007 on the pole with the 16 of Night Sniper. They're going to take them all to green. And, guys, look at all these white paint schemes setting at the top of the field. I'm going to guess this is a team thing. What do y'all think?
I would think so. It makes our job a little bit easier if it is.
Not really, because usually I'm looking for distinct colors.
Never mind. Okay, it makes it easier to find the team. Now, the driver might be a different story, but
yeah, definitely you can definitely find the team pretty easy. But so far it looks like about the top 3, maybe the top 4 with that guy can get down bottom and pull ahead just a little bit. Here is that 12 car of Shiny Tom again. Track for any kind of dirty driving. So Hatch and Palmetto would be very, very wise just to let race it out cleanly. But on this bottom side, we're going to have the 44 to his outside is these numbers, I tell you. I know I called it before, but we are back under green. 44 may not have gotten the jump that he wanted. 16 might have been pushing a little too far, so he wasn't able to get down. 44 now on the bottom line. 69 is going to be able to work his way to the outside. 1 car, 2 car, 3 cars got around after making contact with that line. And if we are at that lap 5 mark, we are not going to have a caution. So right now, Hatch has 2 cars up in the lead. The 16 and the 44 are going to try to do all they can to try to catch back up to that top 2. These guys have shown to be fast all night long. We'll have to see if they're able to run them down. With none of these guys took tires. Here comes another Hatch car. He's actually going to pull down below the 44. So the 16 will not have team help. He will have Hatch help. I think
I tend to agree with that. We're probably going to be, this is either the white flag lap or 2 to go. We don't have a lap count anymore. We lost our lap count.
Nope, that's going to be it. Yep, Worm Rider saying HRL finishing strong. That was the last lap. So 2 Hatch cars finishing first and second. 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all Palmetto. Behind them is going to be another Palmetto and then the sole Hatch car. So these points are going to be very, very interesting to see how they shake out. We'll have to see if the admins feel any
They've already taken the green.
So we are back here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they've already taken the green on us as we try to fix some audio issues. But the 48 does have the advantage coming out of turn 2 and into the back. I apologize. The backstretch there as the 12 car stays right on his inside. It's interesting that 9 stayed on that inside and that.
Now here they come. 2 to go this time.
That 43 is getting a heck of a tow down the back straightaways. He's getting
as much draft as he can get to catch up to the leader. That 24's been dominant since we dropped the green flag in this race. But can the 43 make a run to win the race?
When the race is
cap
over.
He's got to run.
Here we go. They're blocking.
He's
blocking him down to the end.
Coming into
Look what
3,
happened.
they'll be blocking each other. They'll literally be pushing each other through the corner. Coming into the tri-oval, they're going to be fighting.
43, 4. There we go. Side by side on the last lap. One left.
And this time, 1 to go.
1 to go
Oh,
here.
man, I'm
coming into
gripping my
turn
chair.
1.
I'm holding
They
the
are
steering wheel.
side.
I'm pedaling it around the track.
That's
Come on,
it.
43.
Oh, that was
Go
it.
put that 24 out.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah, so
Oh,
Side
man.
by side
Oh.
finish.
That's a 24
Well,
win
24
here
win race. All
at
those.
Charlotte. Man, I
Cheers
tell
to
you,
all
that
that
was
race
absolutely...
control. We was
Who's that
amped up.
talking?
I thought I had all right. And then they
Race
marked
control
up.
gave us the wrong
Yeah.
lap. We
Tough.
So the guy...
For
I
Mr.
spit my
Slide
dip
Job.
all over my wheel.
Yeah.
I'm over
If
here
you have
yelling and
them-
hollering.
So
Halfway through this first round so far, we've sent 5 teams through to round 2, the road course round of the showdown. Teams 6 and 7 going through after this one here. So I'm excited. I'm ready to see who moves on next. This is one of the most exciting 1.5 mile ovals that you can see racing on. Pete, the drivers are ready, and the green flag's about to fly.
That green flag is out. Actually, it's going to be the 2 of Finesse. He grabbed the pole. He had the 38 of Fatless Dig to his outside, but very, very fast. The 2 and the 9 are skating away, heading towards turns 3 and 4. They're about to complete a lap here, Rick.
2 leading the 9 as they come out of the 4th corner, and so far it has been the American Ethanol Show. These guys are pulling away with it in this early lap, but again, my concern is going to be the tires. Harvick, are these guys going to push it too hard, too fast, or are they merely just setting the pace in a frantic Stage 1 lap? 2 miles under this beautiful Las Vegas lights, and it's been nothing but domination from Asbel. He's looking to go for the cycle trip in the 24, trying to catch up, but he's just doesn't have what it takes. White flag is in the air. Engine number 9 at the front of this race, Pete.
Yeah, white flag in the air, 24 close behind. There's the 4, there's the 11. A little bit more of a race behind 9, going into 1 and 2 for the last time. Getting a great launch off of the 2. 24 still trying to catch up, staying in the draft of the 9. 4 going to try to give that 24 a big old shove down the back. Going into 3 and 4, keeping it on the bottom as low as possible. Don't touch that apron. Don't get looped around. 4 coming off the corner. Rick to the line. It's going to be the 9, 24, 11. American Ethanol is going to go ahead and take it home.
A huge win for the American Ethanol Series and a great victory slide by the 9 of Asbel. He drives for the cycle. Pete, I believe that's the first driver to do so in this tournament, save for the other races that we might not have watched, but so many laps turned in this tournament, and this is by far one of the most dominating performances of this round.
Las Vegas, Rick James and WUB Network in the booth with me. Might be hearing some commentary as far as updates from Mr. Slide Job, so look out for his voice as we are headed in. Rick James, out of all the tracks you've done so far, what has been your favorite track, and what's been your favorite race?
Honestly, my favorite race so far, the opening race of this tournament. Round 1 that saw NNR go up against Grand National. And it hasn't been the closest contest we saw so far, but the sheer excitement from these eager leagues that was set, the precedent was set in that first race. And since that green flag fell, well over.
Holy smack. Already reckon like that.
2 laps to go
Two
as
to
they're
go.
crossing the line, Atlanta. Only on wheels, leading the 55 of Obi-Wan, who goes to his inside. It's all for Pride now. Wheels to the outside, Obi-Wan to his inside, and another high side car sitting in third. They're coming to the white flag. Dub Wheels is racing that high side like his life depends on it. He's being challenged for the lead, and the white flag is in the air as they round the 4th corner.
And we know he's got a loose car. It's paying off right now, trying to hang on to the lead. Only on wheels, Ashton LaJoy. He is a fill-in for this team, filling in for Heck Dude, Adam Mitchell, who wasn't even planning on racing. He was a reserve, but he's on the outside. Obi-Wan Ben on the bottom. Here they come down the backstretch. He does not have the momentum. A 3rd car coming up on the high side. Only on wheels, trying to hang on. So many Highline Racing cars behind. They might be in the position to win the overall event here, but Only on Wheels is going to get the win at Las Vegas as contact between the teammates behind.
Big win right there for Only on Wheels. Doing a fantastic job of holding off those cars behind him. Man, just believe that you weren't even supposed to race this race and you come in here and win it.
Oh, well, I guess we already gone racing. It looks like a Punisher has taken the lead on it. I believe Punisher is from Mountain Dew series. We have got, I think that was number, KFB 18. Yeah, we're a little slow on our takeoff. It looks like we got a little shaking up in the back. Chubbs is in mid-pack. What kind of...
Right now it's going by the start-finish line, so it just kind of goes to show you where everybody landed. And those also, I'll mention this too, the 18 is that the 9 right there? They're racing a little bit. I don't know that they need to be doing that.
Alright, well,
Let's
I
see,
believe 48 is the leader.
That's not the
according to
9.
chat. And if it is, that's that Blessed Hands that everybody was talking about, who's pretty much been sleeping most of the stage, but he got that holy water blessed and he's found himself up front.
The holy fuel tank.
He better hope he's got no water in that fuel tank.
As they come down to 1 lap to go, assuming it to be 1 lap to go. Oh, they just finished the race. 48 car looks like he has come across a checkered flag. Looks like he will win the race.
And it looks like VRL took the top 6.
That will be a huge point swing if that is the case.
Have more consistent pit stopping, and it's definitely going to be a hassle coming out of pit road here. You got to keep it below the track, that way you do not get a penalty. So I suspect we'll probably have a few cars that unfortunately make it up on the track, but it takes a little skill to stay down there.
It definitely does, as we are loading in right now. Hopefully we will catch the beginning of this race. And here we go. Looks like the 42 of the A-Hole 88. I'm not going to say it, is going green here at Homestead, Miami.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing to Miami.
Let's do it, boys.
And we're off to the races, boys.
Well, so far, 42 are going to be leading this pack to the back straightaway as we take a look back at the rest of the drivers. Yeah, I was about to say a little bit of trouble towards the back of the pack as we enter turn 3. And we have got a little momentum gaining here on the inside line. It looks like with the 48 as they almost 3 wide, 20.
Chase for the win here, but 43 is still running away with it. Only a few laps remain. He's had a great race. We saw him up in the pack in stage 1, had a solid finish. Stage 2, he was up there in the top 5 once again.
In stage 3, 43 is out here showing the fans that he is race win worthy, running away with it still here.
You're exactly right, and as soon as he crosses that start-finish line, it'll be white flag here for race 13.
66 gets loose.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if he wrecked. I don't think he wrecked. And the 88 got loose too off of turn 2. Gets back on the track. There's a lot of action going on. No real battles going on right now. Might be wrong.
White flag
21 and 88 are going for it. Yeah, white flag here at Miami Speedway. This is going to be a good one.
No, that was checkered.
Oh, that was checkered flag.
Checkered flag.
Yeah, and 43,
Would
I
you look at
believe,
that?
is going to take the race here for race 13 of the Fast Family League Showdown Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. BLM Trump with the win. What a great... we're probably going to see a lot of just, single file action, just trying to save as much tires and fuel as you can, as Lucky Dog is going to be starting off this race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we go green.
Yep, 13's going to be the guy up front, and it looks like he's going to have the 88 right behind him. So as you said, first several cars. Looks about 6 or 7 already, hugging that bottom line all the way through 1 and 2. Now, Atlanta, this is kind of what I was saying earlier. For this first lap, getting into 3 and 4, everybody's going to have a little different of a position to really check up, set their car up for this very, very tight. Oh! You see, even the 13 almost scrubbed that wall. Definitely have some contact in the back.
Yeah, there is big contact in the back.
13 of Lucky Dog has this race well in hand, just like about all 200 laps tonight, guys.
2 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 13 leading things around the track currently. Let's go take a look at his car real quick as we shuffle through the field. There we go. 13 a Lucky Dog right there as he is on the back straightaway headed into turn 4.
Yep, going into turn 4, actually coming out of 4 now. That's about as quick as this guy's been getting around this place. But white flag is out. It's going to be all the 13. No car anywhere close to contest this win. We're the 13 coming across the line first. But SXRL will lock up most points. And I tell you what, Atlanta, I'd be brave enough to say that SXRL will have top seed in this showdown as 13's coming across the line. Congratulations, SXRL.
Yeah, big congratulations to that league here tonight. They have put on a show. And
all right, so yeah, welcome back one more time. That was races 8 through 14. So we saw the front of the pack, we saw the middle of the pack. Now let's kind of talk about that mid pack. What you think there, Slide Job?
Oh man, the middle races were awesome. I don't think there was one non-contentious race in that bunch. I mean, starting right from the get-go with race number 8, Palmetto and Hatch dueling it out in Atlanta. This was the second Atlanta race we got to, and boy was it a grudge match. It ended up becoming one of the tighter battles, or as far as points go. What did you see in that one, Pete?
I saw Palmetto and Hatch. I actually watched from the sidelines. That was all overall a pretty good race. Pretty close, if I'm not mistaken. I think, what did they end, like 40-point differential or something like that? And there was really no clear winner, unlike some of the earlier races where once stage 2 and stage 1 were done, you pretty much had an idea what was going to happen, unless somebody got unruly or if there were going to be a bunch of penalties to follow. But that was a really good race.
Absolutely, yeah. It was definitely a crazy one. Hard fought in the end. PRL coming in with the 316. Zachary leading that charge in points. But I think the thing that stood out to me with that one is just how how crazy a last lap mistake can hurt you. Because we saw in that race that it looked like Palmetto had it locked down, and then all of a sudden that caution on the restart took out a whole bunch of the Palmetto racers, and it left American Rebel and the Joker from Hatch, running away and taking the win there. So, I mean, it just goes to show you got to be on your game every single lap all the way to the checkered. So
Yeah, and I
that
don't know
was
how
that
many
was
times.
definitely crazy.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, thought you were
You're
done
good.
there. Yeah, I don't know how many times during the streams either Rick or Atlanta or Worm Rider or myself would say, when you're either coming up off the track, coming out of the pits, or going around the corner, keep off the apron with the left side tires, because if that grabs you, you'll loop it around. You'll have nothing to say about it. You're going to collect depending on where you are. You're gonna have an issue. A lot of people are gonna be mad at you. You're gonna bust up some cars. Takes too much time down pit road to fix them up, and not only that, you're losing all kinds of track position. So yeah, you got to keep it above the line coming through the corners if you want to stay fast.
Absolutely, and especially at Atlanta, you're going so quick, and one little mistake, all of a sudden you're getting freight trained. So definitely showed it there. Moving on to a completely different track, Ford was calling this one as far as official goes. So this is the first time we saw Charlotte. We saw the Piston Cup take on the Nasbros in that 4-stage duel. So what did you see there, Ford?
I saw a lot of side by side, a lot of good teamwork. It was battles all over the track. You had people just, and it was just a mix up every stage. You never had the same guy finishing all 4 stages, but it was always a mix up. I think the Irish, finished out, at the top spot of 2 and 3, I believe. Hold on.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. 2, 3, and the final stage. So he was the top scorer for that race. But if you look at the results, I mean, it was just all over the place. People were finishing, here or there. They made the right adjustments. They had good teamwork on both sides. It was pretty close in points. It was a little back and forth at first, and then Piston Cup was able to pull off that win. And I give props out to those guys. Every single one of them worked their tails off, and that finish, almost side by side. I think that was one of the closest finishes we had so far in this tournament.
Absolutely. I lost my mind watching that finish, not even live, but just watching it again on the highlight. It was absolutely the best finish, side-by-side finish that we had in the first round. Hopefully we have more to come, but man, seeing those two go at it and coming to the stripe, it was anyone's guess. One of those cars make any little mistake, and it was going to be the race. So, that was definitely one to watch, and it took, 200 laps to get there. But boy, for those of you that stayed to the end of that one, what a show. And moving on, so this was another first for us. So, Pete, you were on the call there for American Ethanol versus Shake and Bake Racing League at our first Las Vegas race, and what a race it was. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny is American Ethanol, I'll actually be broadcasting their championship race tomorrow night right here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. But I've got a pretty good relationship with those guys. But prior to that race, Shake and Bake Racing League, not to be confused with Shake and Bake, which is headed up by the one and only Frozen Toes. They had been after me to kind of broadcast for their Cup Series a few races, and after this race was over, I was so hyped up about the racing I saw and the cleanliness of it all, and the way that both teams really mixed it up in the best way possible. That was a lot of phenomenal racing. American Ethanol went on to grab the win. And it was, I mean, you want to talk about two leagues that really battled it out for the most part. I mean, I don't think they really drove away from each other. Saw a lot of intermingling of the cars. It wasn't like a whole bunch of one team up front and a whole bunch of one team in the rear. They were really intermixed, really evenly matched. I think that was probably one of the best races at that track.
Absolutely. And, Las Vegas has always been one of my favorites just because you saw during the race and even the highlights, we saw drivers take it every single inch of that track. You could watch 6 or 7 cars and each one of them have a different line. And it was, like you said, it wasn't just one team. And I guess, like you said in that story, where they had approached you and you were like, I don't know these guys. Would it be fair to say that they definitely impressed you?
Yep, they absolutely did, and I've been in touch with that community, and I plan on carrying a race or two for them in the very near future.
Absolutely, and that's what this is all about. Bringing the community together. There's a great example. Unknown League comes into the spotlight, takes on one of the seeded teams, doesn't end up winning, but ends up winning the hearts of the fans and the commentators. They definitely put on a fantastic performance.
All right, on to the next, sir.
Yes, sir. So, Ford, remember this one? I know you were watching this one with me. Las Vegas again. Another, talk about another battle at that track. We had UTR a little on the high side, and for me, this was a toss-up. I mean, these teams were absolutely matched. It really was, it didn't matter, when in the race you were looking. These teams were side by side, and no clear winner up and until the points were totaled. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Yeah, that was another one that was really fun to watch. Once again, I mean, I couldn't take my eyes off it. I even actually went back, after the race was over and rewatched it, because it was another one where, it was always a mixed up finish. Every driver showed their talent. Every driver, showed that they could get on pit lane, not get those penalties that'll hurt you. We had a few cautions, but still, it was such a wonderful race to watch, and a little on the high side, ended up taking it by 19 points, with a total of 319 to 300. So I mean, it was so close that you want to have more racing like that, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to make things even closer, the winner only on wheels from UTR, his team didn't even win, and he won the race, but the guy in second, Noggin Jr., had 49 points, only on wheels 47. So here's the top two different leagues, and the guy finishes in second, ends up having more points. How crazy is that? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That was the kind of racing that we hope to see. And, Ford, would you say it's fair that if either of these teams went up against some other teams, that both of them might be sitting in the round 2 today?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that they had their stuff together when they came in. I don't know if they practiced a lot, before they came in, but that was just awesome teamwork. And if they would have went against two totally different teams, they would probably be both sitting in the second round right now.
Absolutely. They showed us how it's done at Vegas for sure. All right, moving on. The next race was probably the most controversial race of the tournament, and it was because it was the only race in which penalties overturned the finish. You saw it first, Pete, on the highlights. It was Mountain Dew Southern Series versus Victory Lane Racing. Where did you see in that race?
That was that was the field full of white cars, wasn't it?
That was actually, I think you're mistaken with the Palmetto.
Okay, you're right. No, again, just off. I was a spectator in that one. Don't recall a whole lot, but man, you were there. You and Ford Tough. I could just imagine what y'all have going through your head. Unless you've got a whole lot of notes, all these races have got to really bleed into one another. You would probably be the best one to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was our first, I believe if I'm correct, that was our first race at Homestead. And Homestead really proved to be a difficult track for the drivers. All 3 races that we saw there had drivers struggling, coming off turn 4 and 2. It was a nightmare for people that had loose cars. It really was. And, this one, it was wild in the fact that, we thought Victory Lane might come home with a win, as they had, quite a few guys in the top 6 coming home to the finish. However, again, as Ford will tell you, it was another reminder that one driver can ruin your day. We did have some sportsmanship issues on that one, and unfortunately, all the officials and those that reviewed the race, really just could not hand the victory to a team that had a driver, act like he did. And it was just a reminder that, we hold sportsmanship very highly on and off the track. Ford, if you had any other things to address on that race.
No, like you said, it's just a reminder. It only takes one person to really mess it up for everybody, and hopefully we won't see too much of that going into the second round. But these races are very competitive. Especially in a tournament style like this, and aggression does get high, but you just got to remember to keep your cool. And this won't happen to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely is a reminder, and we hope to see, absolute high standard of racing and sportsmanship going forward. All right, second to last in this segment, we had Sprite Cup Series versus MAGA. And Ford, this was our second race at Homestead. We saw that first one, and we kind of, we expected to see some similar things. Drivers get loose off of 2 and 4, and we definitely did that. But one of the things that we noticed was that, MAGA running away with a lot of the top 5 positions. It looked like one holdout in the form of GRM Joker in that race. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, this was kind of basically a one-sided battle. I mean, they had some connection issues and they lost a couple drivers, so they were outnumbered. But I have to give them guys some props because they stuck it out. GRM Joker, I mean, he was up there in the top 5 the whole night. He finished really well. He scored the most points for Sprite Cup. But then again, MAGA brought home the win. But I believe if they would have had, all their whole team, they would put up a pretty good fight. But MAGA showed their strength.
And I think one cool thing about that race was that they had quite a few substitutes come in, and the substitutes ended up being the star of the show. I mean, boy, we talked about GRM Joker. He was driving the wheels off that thing. He brought it home in the top 5. He was mixing up with the leaders. Obviously, he didn't have little to no help up there, with all those MAGA teammates, not giving him any room. But, of course, what a valiant effort. And, they're a young league. So we can't wait to see how they grow. And, being in the limelight hopefully helps them with that. And, we can't wait to see what they can do in the future.
Absolutely.
And let's end it out. So, Pete, this was a monumental race for one team. Definitely notable. We had race 14 was SXRL versus All Out Racing. Why don't you take us through that one?
Yeah, SXRL. I was really surprised when I saw the roster for those guys. You see a lot of pro leaguers in there. You see a lot of eSpark drivers, and the fact that Dan the Lawn Man and Doc Hudson and a few others really ran away for the most part. It was still pretty close, but there was just. SXRL ran away, and eventually they got the most points. I think, what was it, 425 or something like that at a Charlotte race. But that one of the stages didn't count because it wouldn't have been fair for the rest. But yeah, that was just an all-over dominant performance by SXRL. They ended up getting the bye when we get to the draw after this next set of clips. And yeah, it was just a dominant race by those guys. Not much more than you can say.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was very tight performance by them. I think one thing we noted most watching that race is I believe it was the top 6 or 7 guys got in a line and just drove away. That was the first time, other than maybe the eSpark race, where we saw a team just link up and just work together. Not try to race each other, not to take each other 3 wide. They got in a line. They knew what they had to do. They found who was going to be their engine, and they just ran away. I mean, it was crazy, and I know, you know, the people that were watching at the other edge of their seat was those eSpark guys, because they were, you know, they held the top spot from race 2 all the way to 14. So I mean, they were only, you know, 7 more races away from home free, and unfortunately for them, SXRL just put on a clinic. But I do want to shout out the All Out Racing guys, because they ran a very clean and respectful race. They were fantastic all day. They just got outran, plain and simple. You know, I don't think there was anything else to it. You know, they you know, worked together, but you know, it seemed like SXRL just got that team together and were able to play the team game. So with that, let's jump in. Let's wrap this up and jump into our final clips. This is 15 through 21.
Yep, so again, this is Tail End Charlie, races 15 through 21. Enjoy, guys. Then we're back to recap these as well.
So we are back here at race number 13. Mike DB34 in that 20 car did get the pole with a 30.560. Starting out, he is on the bottom line with that 19 car, it looks like, on the outside, trying to run him down, coming back across the line. And we are racing here at Chicagoland, Trump.
Yeah, if you see on the screen, it looks like that the 20 got a little bit of damage on the start. The pace car slammed on the brakes as they were trying to get down, and the 20 car ran in the back of him. It doesn't look like it's affecting him right now, but that's something we need to follow in the first stage to kind of see what he does and how much positions he loses in pit road.
Coming off of turn 4, the 20 car is in the lead. That looks like the 24 car actually is behind him. And of JP Big Dog in second. And the 19 car of Lurkin Tom Gaming. There are your top 3 drivers here.
24 is making a battle for the lead. 24 makes contact with the 88 coming to the start-finish line. 24's got a big run on the 88. Let's see what he can do coming into 1.
So they will be battling with the 19 creeping, coming down into the backstretch. Coming into 3, the 19 will go, the 24 will stay high, and the 19 will follow like he's supposed to do.
24
and
to the
they
outside.
will be side by side.
24 in the wall.
Coming out of turn 4. And they are going to almost draw together because of that.
I believe that was the final lap of the race. 88 is your winner.
The 88 will be your winner here this evening, but don't leave. Don't leave yet. Here very shortly, we are going to have some interviews with.
But here we go. Pace car is off, and green flag is in the air. We are green here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Here comes the 42 of Cowboy Nation into turn 1 to take the green flag with the 22 right behind him, the 12 on his bumper as they come off of turn 2.
Down the backstretch now, side by side. These drivers are going to have to stay off of each other in these early laps if they want to see success. This track notorious for, and all yellow already with
yep.
Drivers already getting into it.
Already we
early
have
yellow
caution. Yep.
Yeah, I saw a couple competitors getting loose off turn 2 there, and that's the thing. You know, on preset racing, you have such a plethora of choices when it comes to what preset you want to run. Do you want to run that higher preset, that 5, that 6, possibly 7, which then consequently you have to make adjustments that are going to tighten the race car up. Do you want to run the lower preset, like a 3 or a 4, even a 2 from some of these guys I'm hearing might be right?
2. Let's see what happens here. Side by side, it's the 42 and the 12. The 12 is going to have to block here and try to find someone to keep that 42 away from the 22. Here they come. Off of turn 4 to take the white flag. All bets are off. White flag in the air. Here we go. The bell is ringing down the front straightaway into turns 1 and 2. The 38 looming right here, side by side, the 12 and the 42. Can the 42 get a run on the outside? This is his last chance to get some momentum down the back straightaway to set up a potential dive bomb in 3 and 4. You see him
Couldn't get the
bunker.
power down.
Yeah, here they come, 3 and 4 for the final time. The checker flag in the air. It looks like it's going to be the double deuce of the 22. Here they come. Off of turn 4, it will be the 22. No chance for the 42. Penske gets the 1-2 here at Homestead Motor Speedway. What
Hurricane
a
Lane
race.
in the Pennzoil Shell Mustang, beating his Penske teammate, an Unbound teammate, in the number 20, in the number 12. Jack.
You've got the 14 right behind. That's going to be a left turn Looney Ally in Drippy Slide. So the two teammates for left turn Looney is now going to be side by side as they head down into turns 1 and 2. Give the position there to the 14 car as 88 goes to the high side and is going to push his teammate, hopefully catch up to these shake and bake teammates. And they're going to keep racing now. 88 dips below the white line there, no out of bounds, but he's going to try and get that position on the 14. He wants to lead him up there. They're going to continue to be side by side right in front of the 12.
All right, and I am in. Thank you very much to Asbel Boehner and Frydog for helping me with that. While we were kind of waiting, I pulled up Combat Beast's stream, and he's sitting about P6, but so far up front, it's all track. That goes to show what kind of a lead these guys have, even though the Ford took just two tires and one can. These front 3 cars have been dominant all race long. Last lap, white flag in the air here, Dohar. It's all your call, sir. Take us home.
White flag for the 11 of Rangers. He's going to take the point out of 2. The 8 of Tom is going to try to set up a draft run and get it. He's got the 18 behind him as they're going to head into 3 and 4. What will Tom do here? They head down into the turn. Kerr's going to give about a quarter of a lane room. Tom with the older tires trying to drive up off the bottom, but can't get it done. The 11 of Rangers going to get the max points day, being just the 4th driver to obtain this in the first round here, the Fast Family Tournament. Shake and Bake takes the top 6 spots by my calculation with the...
Here's the race you were just hearing about. There he is, 83 of Raven Fan.
Yeah, Raven Fan up front, and I'm looking at the slide job, Mr. Slide Job, and some of the other Fast Family cars fading towards the back. It's been a good start so far through the first couple laps for GFCS. They're 1, 2, 3. The pro leader, Matthew Heel, in the 51, running just behind the 83 as they wrap up lap 2.
Well, looking on board right now. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
No, it's fine. I was just saying, just a touch on the fact that right now, the Fast Family, they're really, they're kind of laying back right now, taking it easy here in stage 1, because obviously you don't want to do anything, stupid here and, potentially take yourself or more your teammates, or put them in a bad spot early here.
Well, Rowdy Matt in that 51 car. I wonder whose car he's driving here tonight. He's going to be in first place as we head into turn 1. He's driving.
Lagger on the front straightaway. It looks like the 6 car. See if
Yeah,
that affects
spin.
the lead.
A spin on the front
Getting
stretch.
dicey.
That's the 6 who's had trouble all day. Now the Fast Family cars have moved up into 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So they're in a good spot. Looks like they might be in a good spot to try to wrap this up. But anyway, white flag, 1 lap to go at Atlanta. Can Slide Job make the move? They come through turns 1 and 2. Down the backstretch for the final time. Lapped car ahead won't be a factor. The 88 getting a run down the back. Mr. Slide Job has not been able to get to the lead all day.
He gets a run
dives to
down the bottom.
He's got the lane. The 51 squeezes him down to the apron. 88 back looking high. Back to the bottom. Back to the line. Rowdy Matt 51 takes the win for Game Fuel Cup Series here at Atlanta.
Wow, what a finish. And the guys finishing 3rd and 4th are for the GF guys. That is huge in the points. It looks like they're working together. The 17 of Knockout is the 2nd place driver. The 24 of Shotgun is the pole sitter, and he elected to take the top to give the bottom down. So we'll see how that works as they come through the Geico restart zone. Green flags in the air here at Kentucky. The 24 is going to pull. Let's see if the 17 lets him down to get the bottom.
Here we go. The 24 pulling out in front here of the 17. Kind of look like a teammate restart right there. Here they come through turns 1 and 2. The 24 in front, 17 behind, 22 in third, 88 fourth, and I believe that's the 4 car sitting there in 5th.
Yeah, I would say the biggest takeaways of this is we watched the other leagues who are sitting 1 through 3 in points. They have stayed together. They got in a line. They played strategies for perfection. They got all of their cars in a line around the track, and they did not let anybody else pass in the draft. So we'll see what ENEA does tonight, as right now they currently hold the top 5 positions. Come get him unless he gets a big run off of 4,
Yep.
a big run off of 2. The 48's putting pressure down the back of him.
Here they come, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Oh, the wrecking of the lane, 22 hard in the wall, big wreck behind. Oh, he's upside down. Oh no! Oh man, here they come. Turns 1 and 2, here they come. Out of turn 2, the 21 sitting there in 5th. Here we go, into turn 3 and 4. It's honestly, 3 wide is doing a heck of a job right now, putting themselves inside the top 10, wrecking havoc. Here they come off of turn 4. The 24 is going to get the win here for ENEA, but it's going to be close here in the back of the pack, as we got multiple guys come across the line.
Control, the 48 car had a restart violation.
Oh.
That is a crushing blow for the 48 car as he placed in 3rd. He took out the 22. He took out the 22 of ENEA. He took out the owner of their league with the lag spike.
It's going to be incredibly challenging in this next round because a lot of these drivers are not only friends with each other, but they race with each other. So they're going to know exactly who they're facing. Next round is the road course round. So it lends itself to an entire usage of a driver's skill for the entire duration of the race. And not only are these drivers going to need to use skill, but they're going to need to use their utmost left and right turning skills combined with tire and fuel management. So I think this next round is really going to weed out the good teams from the great teams. But before we get to round 2, green flags coming out at the end of round 1. And already we've got some action, boys. Drivers up against the wall, and it looks like we might have had a terrible start here. Interesting to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, you've already got cars hitting off that turn 3 and 4 we was talking about. So nobody went down, so I guess they're still going to roll with the green.
Who doesn't look like anyone signals as they continue the green flag run into turn number 3.
It's going to be 2 laps to go, this time by WB, 7 leading the 47, leading the 51. A 3-way fight for first, with the 19 being the lap car just up ahead. Does he play the pick? Does he get out of the way? It's Dowdy, Spots, and now in the 51, you have Casey Kane, who's making that challenge for 2nd place, and he's had enough sitting in 3rd. 51 to the outside, no cigar. Coming down to the inside, white flag this time by WB.
Indeed, as Dowdy comes into turn number 3, Spots tries to make the bump and run, but overall, he's going to have one more chance to do it. They dive off of 4. Dowdy's loose on the inside. Oh, they're wrecking. They want around. Around, put Texas Spots up in front. A big save by the 7. That is going to be costly. Or how about this? Race has come to an end.
That's the end. That's the finish of the race. Right there. We're watching from the feed of the 12, who's a lap down in 4th. That's my mistake. They weren't coming to the white flag. That was the race for the win, and looks like the 7.
Well,
seemed like they just got a little slow. It seemed like they just got a little slow restart off there. I'm not sure if they knew exactly where the restart box was, but they're going now.
Yeah, it looks like Kill Squad, those guys were actually doing that because there was a little bit of a problem, actually, with the last game loading in, so they actually had to restack. That's why you saw them take a couple of laps around the track as we see the 44 car here in the lead, taking this single file line around Texas. So far, it looks like they're not going to be as aggressive as we have seen with some of the other leagues, especially here at the beginning of the race as we go on board with the 12 car.
41, 6, 12, your top three out of the fourth corner, all racing for hybrid. That's James in the 41 car, in the...
A lot of people in the chat saying let's go hybrid, so a lot of fans as 2 laps to go with the 12 leading the 88 as we go into turn 1.
It'll be 2 to go this time by, 12 leading the 88. Money, how are those lap times? Is he still going as fast as he can?
That last lap, I clocked him at a 30.83, so he's not losing that much lap time. He's still running pretty consistent speed, so I think he knows what he's doing. I think he picked the perfect strategy to close out this race.
2 laps to go this time by, the 12 running a little bit slower. The gap to the 88 is not increasing, so he's either conserving or he's being ginger about it. Atlanta, that 12 is slow out of the second corner. The 88 is starting to catch up. He's hit the wall. 12 has hit the wall.
Oh,
he's
man.
losing tires. He could be losing fuel. 12 car is slowing down. It'll be 1 to go as he comes out of the fourth corner.
Yeah, it looks like the 88 right there overtaking the 12. Into the grass big time. And the 12.
That's 12 car go.
Whoa, what was that? Big time
lag spike.
12 sputtered. Or it's connection issues. I'm not sure.
It's
Atlanta,
connection.
it looks like the 12 can coast to the end from here.
Yeah, the 12 definitely experiencing some lag right there as he comes out of turn 4. Z Phenomenal going to be your winner here today at Texas Motor Speedway for round 1, race 21 of the Fast Family League Showdown Series.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're back. So thanks for hanging in there. That was 15 through 21. Excuse me. So no more recaps. We're just gonna kind of talk about these races pretty quick, and then I know all y'all are patiently and some impatiently waiting. Good thing that we're not like national TV where we run a bunch of commercials and then bring you back to that stuff, right? But yeah, Slide Job and Ford Tough, another great pack of video clips. Talk us through them.
Absolutely. What a way to end round 1. A bunch of great races, starting from I think the race that had the least cautions in it, the Pure Speed above average NASCAR Heat Friends race was absolutely spectacular. Ford, you know a little bit about that one. Why don't you tell us your synopsis of that one?
Well, like you said, it was a great race. You know, you had JP Big Dogs, you know, up there in stage 1, Dude Chef, and in stage 2 taking the top spots. You know, but it came down to, you know, there was absolutely one caution there. They set the bars for cautions. You know, and they ran a great race, but I think what got them was, you know, pit penalties. They just made a few mistakes on pit road, and that pretty much costed them, you know, moving on. But like I said, they all ran a great race. It was spread out, you know, here and there, but, you know, we saw some great battles on the track. You know, like I said, JP put on a good show. E-Dog, you know, on crap, what is their name? ANF. Yeah, above average.
Yeah.
Sorry, my alarm threw me off. It was beeping at me. But yeah, it was a great race. I mean, between strategies and everything, you know, you couldn't really tell what was going to happen. It was just one of those races where, you know, you beat yourself. I think the pressure got to him a little bit.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, for me, what stands out about that race is this was a big moment in the tournament because this was the first time that a seeded team in round 1 lost. I mean, you know, round 1, you know, we kind of, you know, chose based on past performance, league size, and all that, ones that we thought were really going to go far. And this was the only time out of the 8 seeded teams that one of them fell. And I really think it had nothing to do with the talent. It really just came down to the mistakes. Like you mentioned, I remember JP Big Dogs was leading a lot of that race and was up front, and then got a penalty there that set him back, and then he had to get back to the front, and then just talking to some of the racers afterwards, just the setups for the long run. Who knew after watching the other two Chicagoland races that this one was going to come down to a one caution race. I mean, I think a lot of drivers were setting up for the short run, just expecting cautions to fly, and it didn't. And I think the long run would really hurt Pure Speed. I think Above Average ran, a race, perfect for them. They didn't make many mistakes. They were set up for the long run, and they capitalized. I mean, there's nothing much other to say than that. They took home the victory there with 369 and 275. Just absolute crushing victory, and Pure Speed is having a rough day. Moving on to that second race, Ford, you remember this one quite well. This was the finale of the 3 Homestead races with WSRL and Unbound. Another race where we saw drivers struggle with loose cars. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you saw there?
Yeah, that was another that was another race that I think everybody set up their cars for short runs. It had some great moments in it. Just a lot of mistakes, a lot of cautions. They beat themselves. There was quite a few penalties called in that race, and with everything, Unbound was able to come out with the victory on that. But I mean, like I said, it had some great battles on the track, and I wish we would have been able to see, what exactly both teams had if they would have set up their cars correctly.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people were looking for a shootout, and by the time they got to the point, their tires had it, and they were transitioning to more of a long run. That's when the mistakes, and whether they were careless or whether they were, intentional, or not intentional, but, unavoidable. I mean, it definitely led to a shootout, and that's what we saw. I mean, they battled right to the end, and it ended up at the end of the day when the dust settled, it was Unbound that came out with it. So, unfortunately for the other team, they were just on the wrong side of the coin there. But moving on, another one of those seeded teams we were talking about. Pete, you got to call this one. It was the Shake and Bake Left Turn Loonies race, and we saw somebody actually take a run at maybe getting the top seed in the tournament in the first round.
Yeah, that entire Shake and Bake team was actually really, really strong. I mean, the initial start of the race wasn't that great. I think we came in to the broadcast about 13 laps in, but thanks to the one and only Combat Beast, was able to hop on board his stream, keep up with him and Frozen Toes and a bunch of others, which Frozen Toes, thank you very much for hanging out tonight. Definitely appreciate you. But yeah, that entire pack of Shake and Bake cars were just extremely strong. Not sure if they all shared their setup or what the case was, but they absolutely made a great run for that top seed, only dethroned by one other team. But yeah, that Shake and Bake was really strong all the way around Chicagoland. Excuse me.
Absolutely. And, I think they took some notes when they watched SXRL's performance at Charlotte. They really knew what they had to do to get it done. And they came so close. Only 3 measly points deciding the top seed. Shake and Bake scoring 421, SXRL's 424. But I think early on in that race, we knew they would be, one of the last contenders for that, and they definitely made a run at it. They just dominated that race. A lot of guys in the other squad doing fantastic. Not many cautions that race, but just, again, Left Turn Loonies just got outrun, plain and simple. That was just another case of one team using teamwork to just outscore an opponent. So what another fantastic race we had. Getting down to it, Ford, I think you know more about this race than most people do because you were in it. So this was the host team Fast Family Racing's race against Game Fuel, and boy, oh boy, I'll give you my notes in a second, but boy, that was a tough race, and it ended up being the closest finish of the round. So why don't you tell us from your perspective how that went?
It went really well. That was the closest race so far, as far as points go. I mean, we barely beat, Game Fuel. They had a great team. They came, where the game faces and their A game. Rowdy Matt, took pretty much every stage and the final win. You definitely gave him a run for his money there at the last stage right there at the finish. We could have beat him with a little bit more points, but somebody had a little mix-up getting on the pit road and got a penalty for coming back up on the track. I ain't going to name no names for Tough.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
But, I mean, every one of us, I mean, we definitely had great strategies. We had, great teamwork. We all lined up, in a line, held down those top spots, to get max points in the stages. And it definitely worked out well for us, And like I said, it was close, but, we came out with the victory there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think we had the least cautions at Atlanta of all three. It was a great race from beginning to end. I think, in that race, being as competitive as the two teams were, you really saw the true colors of Atlanta shine with everybody trying to protect and dive on that bottom and just try to keep it. It was definitely a hard fought battle, especially if we got shuffled in the back. And I know, at least our struggle was that we lost two people early on in the race due to lag, so we knew, we had no option. And I think from the get-go, our team met and was like, hey, we need to work together. We can't beat ourselves, because we watched so many races where the teams just beat themselves. And you saw, even though Rowdy Matt was leading quite a bit in that race, we saw a ton of orange cars behind him and towards the upper pack, and that really led to it. I mean, it really came down to those couple of points, and without those valuable stage points and the finishes that we got at the end there, that was crazy. And shout out to the other team there. And I did want to address this, that I was thinking about whether to bring it up or not, but I definitely did, just because being a huge preset guy, and I'd like to think me and a bunch of others represent the preset community, because we've been doing it ever since we started racing. I've done some custom work myself, but not too much compared to how much I've done. But I remember Rowdy Matt saying that, a lot of pro league drivers feel that, the preset guys say, hey, you're not as fast, we'll destroy you on presets. And I don't think that's the case.
That's not
a
true.
lot of yeah, exactly. A lot of us feel that, and even Dohar said it in one of the previous races. I forget which race it was, but when he was commentating, he mentioned that presets really puts everybody on an even plane. And a lot of people feel in the custom setup world, the pro leaguers just dominate and drive away, because they know how to build setups. I think no one disputes that. But I think in the preset realm, they really don't run away as much. And I think, we proved that in that race, that, I was with him the entire race. He didn't really run away. So, I mean, it really just shows, who the drivers are. As far as I'm concerned, and I know you agree with me on this, and, the presets really brings out the drivers, not about the setups, just about what you can do with that even car. So, I just want to mention that. It was a big part of the discussion after the end of the race. And, so moving on.
Someone in the chat said they use a keyboard controller.
Do they? Good luck for you, man. Good luck. All right, moving on to the ENA 3-wide race. So, Ford, I remember you were a big part of the officiating crew on this one. That was a great race. Not a lot of cautions there. We waited until I think it was race 19 to finish Kentucky, and this was the last one. So tell us a little bit about that race.
ENEA definitely had their hands full. They were able to come out with the win. But three wide, I mean, they brought their best guys. You know, I was hoping, you know, to see Goodweiser in there. You know, he's one of the best guys to ever run with. I've ran with those guys sometimes. But you know, I don't know exactly what their strategy was. Once again, I think maybe the pressure got to them, and you know, they kind of beat themselves. But you know, they definitely put up a pretty good fight. Yeah, as you can tell in the points, I mean, it wasn't that too far off. I mean, we've seen it worse, but you know, they were in the high 200s, and ENEA was around 356. You know, to take that win. But Unevel Desert, you know, he brought in, you know, the max points for three wide, and Shotgun brought in the max points at 58 for his team. But you know, it was still a lot of good racing, a lot of good battles. You know, that is such a tough track to try to coordinate.
Absolutely, and you know, we were just talking. I don't want to bring it up again, but you know, talking about preset versus custom. This was one of those battles where we saw a custom team or a team that normally runs a custom setup versus a team on presets, and it was a great battle. But I think, you know, this kind of showed, you know, that maybe the experience with the presets, or you know, it was just it was a good battle. You know, I ended up having to go watch that one afterwards, and it was definitely one to watch for sure. Definitely found great ways to run around Kentucky. So moving on. So Ford, this was our first race. We had to wait until race 20 to see a Texas race. It was the last debut of tracks, and we got to see two of them right at the end. The first one with the last seeded team, IVRL, and we thought, you know, in the booth and in the officials chat, we really thought that this one might be a little bit more of a blowout than it actually was, but it seemed like Days of Thunder really stuck it to them. What did you think about that one?
That was a good race, and I can't believe, you know, how close it was. You know, I know those guys at IBRL. You know, Texas Spots and Casey Kane definitely brought their A game. You know, they ran the 1 and 2 in stage 2. You know, Impact took stage 1. I couldn't believe it. You know, so it was a little bit of back and forth there. But I don't know what happened in stage 2, but they made some adjustments, and they were able to get up there and finish what most of their guys finished up in the top 6 to take stage 2, and then that last lap for the finish. I mean, Dowdy definitely had his hands full. You had Texas Spots and Casey Kane, you know, running second and third, and they were hungry. I believe Casey had a little bit better car than Texas, and if he would have let Casey around, he would have definitely probably gave Dowdy a photo finish, if not have won that race. But yeah, and that one came down to fuel strategy and, you know, who had the better cars. But great race with that. I loved watching it, liked calling it, you know, and you know, I can't wait to see what they have at the road courses also.
Absolutely, and you know, you can't blame him though. I mean, Texas Spots drove the wheel off his car. He messaged me before the broadcast started and said, give him a shout out, say he's the best guy on IVRL. I think there's maybe 20 some drivers that may want to disagree with you on that squad, but hey, you know, I don't blame him. You know, you got your teammate behind you, but you're thinking, hey, if I can just get around that 7 car, I can bring the win home for IVRL, and I'm the guy to do it. I mean, you can't blame the guy. He tried his heart out, and the two of them had a great battle at the end. You guys saw it first in the clips. It was quite a race.
Dowdy saved just enough fuel at the end to win that race.
Yeah, I remember hearing that over the radio. He said he ran out coming to the line, and he just had barely enough. So, you know, Texas really challenging the drivers, not only, you know, handling wise, getting loose out of 4, but also, you know, what strategy to pick as far as pitting. So definitely,
Randy definitely picked a good crew for that.
Absolutely,
for his team.
And then we got to see it again on Rewind. We went back to Texas the following night, the last night of round 1, to see Hybrid and Full Throttle go at it. And Ford, it looked like Full Throttle just had some issues throughout that race. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, they definitely had some issues. I mean, we didn't get an exact exact of what was going on. I mean, we had to park two guys. I don't know if they were having technical difficulties or what exactly was going on, but they lost a few guys, but they did put up a pretty good fight. I mean, I give hats off to them. I think it was down to like 5 of their drivers, to 10. So it was pretty uneven. So that's one of the reasons why Hybrid scored so many points. But still, I mean, that last stage, it was great. I mean, we didn't have any cautions that I can remember. Of course, we ran 21 races, so I don't remember every single caution. But as far as I can remember, that was a caution-free last stage, and Hybrid was able to come away with the win. And congratulations to both teams. I mean, unfortunately, some of those things happened, and they did have some lag outs, but hopefully they'll be a little bit more prepared, come next tournament, and we'll see them on the track again.
Absolutely. And I think, you mentioned it earlier, the thing that stuck out to me is that, the fact that they ended up stuck it out and finished the race. I think it was very clear by the end of stage 1 that they were just not going to win that race or that matchup. It was a steeper and steeper mountain to climb, right from the beginning. And the fact that they stuck it out and ran the entire race, that was probably some of the best sportsmanship I've seen in the tournament. Just, hats off to those guys. They had a lot of heart and a lot of pride in what they do. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want. That's what we all have. That we have that passion for racing. Win, lose, or draw, we're in it to race and we're in it to have fun right to the very end. So, huge way to cap it off. And, what a fun day that was, finishing round 1 and seeing our second Texas race. So now, before we end that, I'm going to give some results for, the tournament. As far as the rankings go, you've seen it on the bracket. But for those of you fans out there, you may not have seen it. We talked about that last matchup. That was kind of a shocker with Hybrid almost breaking the 400 club. But as we mentioned earlier, SXRL taking that top spot, getting the bye for round 1. That puts them right into round 3 of Super Speedways with 424. Shake and Bake taking that second spot with 421. E-Spark, we saw early on, get 411. And No Name Racing and NAOR rounding out the top 5 with 409 and 408 respectively. And MAGA coming home in 6th with the last member of the 400 club with 401. Then we saw Hybrid in that last race get the 398. And right behind them, American Ethanol. There was the lowest ranked, not actually the lowest ranked, sorry about that. I was going to say lowest ranked seeded team, but they weren't. But had 390 there. And then OMA below them, 380 with the 9th seed. Unbound, 376 in 10th. Above average, 369 in 11th. ENEA, 356 in 12th. And then we had Thursday Night Thunder and Wolfpack, 353 and 348 respectively for the 13th and 14th seed. Piston Cup rounding out the top 15 with 340. And IVRL coming in with 339, a lot lower than we thought they were going to be. But, that's how crazy this competition has been. Carolina Racing League and Fast Family Racing League, 326, 324, the 17th and 18th seed. And your last 3, a little on the high side, Palmetto Racing League and Mountain Dew Southern Series, 319, 316, 277. That's your 19th through 21st. So that's how we ranked them. Those are your overall points for the round 1. And that kind of determined the rest of the bracket. These teams were flipped over by seed, with the 21st playing second. And that's the bracket that we unveiled. And we'll be picking races for tonight. But before we just get to the best part, I know you guys are all waiting, but I just want to hear from Ford and Pete. their final thoughts on this first round. What was your favorite moment? What surprised you? What didn't surprise you? We'll start with Pete. Why don't you tell us what you thought overall?
Well, to be honest with you, I think my favorite moments were actually getting to work with a whole lot of great commentators, other streamers. I had never met Rick or Atlanta Racing before. I'd worked with Harvick on the eSpark side a few times. So, yeah, really getting to, I never talked to you or Ford Tough before. So the whole thing is about bringing the community together, which is what Rock NASCAR has done a great job of with the Facebook community. But really, it's my favorite part is getting to call a lot of these races, meeting a whole lot of new people, and really, getting to see this thing through. I mentioned a few times that I've been around these NASCAR games since about 07, 09, and this is the first time where people have had the idea to do something like this, and it came to fruition. So big, tip of the hat to you guys.
Well, thank you. And Ford, what did
Thank you.
you think about round one overall?
Round one was great. Round one, everybody come in, to lend their comments, their concerns, and everything, so we can make this experience better for everybody. So, if it weren't for the community, the broadcasts, the leagues, and everything, we wouldn't have been able to make this thing possible. This thing has turned out to be huge. Everybody seems to be having a good time. I know there's some guys in the chat that are ready for those tracks, but it's just been a wonderful time. And my favorite moment is actually calling Dohar out, for his pace carring, because he is the only pace car that I know that can get damaged without touching anything. But I do want to say something. Tune in, definitely tune in. We definitely have a video that we want to broadcast. One of the guys from Full Throttle is going to be singing the national anthem for us. It is one of his dreams. He has several cerebral palsy. Yeah, and we don't have the power to send him to a actual NASCAR race to do the national anthem live. So we're gonna bring him to our streams and let him sing the national anthem for us. So please tune in and and support his dream.
Absolutely. I think that's really important, because one thing we stressed all tournament is that we're trying to bring the community together, and we mean it. The whole community, not just, those that we see in our day-to-day league races, but, everyone that races the game as a whole. And we are so glad to be able to try to bring that young man at least a little bit closer to his dream. He'll be singing the national anthem for us in the first race of round 2. So definitely check that out and give that guy some love. Absolutely fantastic. And a lot of heart and a lot of courage to be able to get up there and sing in front of all those people,
Absolutely.
So,
Got that right.
a lot more
Got
than
that
some of us could sing, And as far as my final thoughts, my favorite moment in the round 1 was, I remember after one of the races, one of the drivers, I can't even tell you what league or who said it, but they said to me, that was the most professional and fun race I've ever been a part of. They said, I felt like a real NASCAR driver, and it was just the most professional racing experience I've ever had in my life. And that means a lot to me, because I remember, when I drove in the Pro League Showcase races, to me, I felt that way. Just how well done and put together it was, and how official it felt. And I wanted to bring that experience to the whole community through the tournament. And so for somebody to have that experience, at least if I and Ford reached one person with that experience, I mean, it was really cool to see. And as far as things that surprised me and things that didn't, I think it's really the same answer, is that people brought it. I mean, there was things that didn't surprise me, is that the teams that we expected to do really well, they did. And then the surprising part for me was that teams that we didn't think were going to do well brought it. I mean, you want to talk about one specific example was that above average pure speed race. I mean, everybody thought pure speed was just going to dominate. And above average drove almost a perfect race. I mean, they brought it. And some of these other teams that we'd never even heard of, like Hybrid, you know, where did they come from? Came out and put a masterpiece together. I mean, some of these guys, you know, really brought it, and it was great to see. You know, we saw a little bit of everything. We saw big wrecks, upsets, dominating performances, close finishes, just about everything, you know, just in the first round. So if that's any kind of prediction on what the rest of the rounds are going to go, I just can't wait. So without further ado, we'll get on to the part of the show that I'm sure all of you have been waiting for. We're going to get on to the track drawing. And we're going to start right at the top. So our top seeded team was SXRL, getting the bye with 424 points. And we unfortunately, we were going to try to have Sebi, who is the owner for that that league, come and talk to us about his thoughts on getting the bye and what that meant for his team and how his squad is going to prepare. But luckily enough, he gave us a short clip video to play. So we're going to see what his thoughts were on getting the bye for his team.
Hey, it's me, Sebastian Miller, also known as Sebi12RN on Xbox. I am the owner of the SXRL. We absolutely love that this tournament is taking place. It is an amazing opportunity to get a bunch of good drivers out there who may not be, you know, racing or seeing everyone on a week-to-week basis, especially in littler leagues. They're also showing some great speed and getting to showcase their talents. We're very excited to have the bye this week. Although we'd love to be out there racing with everyone, it'll be fun to sit back and just relax and watch for sure. What do we plan on doing with the bye? We plan on doing kind of whatever we've been doing before this tournament. Some people are on vacation. Some people are, you know, just chilling, doing their day-by-day stuff. Me personally, I'm out there studying for a couple of tests that I need to take for work in order to get promotions and whatnot, stuff like that. Our plans for the next round, really, I mean, it's a plate track. I mean, kind of things change really quick there. Strategy can get thrown out the window, so you kind of need to work on a couple of different strategies for that. But obviously, you want to be leading the stages, and you want to be leading at the end of the race. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. Kind of luck of the draw. You can kind of decide your own fate, but you not nearly as much as the other tracks, for sure. Thank you, Slide Job, for, you know, having this big tournament out here. It's been a blast to, you know, sit there and watch a bunch of races, and we're going to be really excited to watch, you know, this second round right here. Road courses are, you know, challenging. It takes a lot of driver skill and a lot of communication to, you know, get everyone together and form a team plan, I guess, for this round. Really, just excited to be a part of it. It's definitely, we thought this was one of the more difficult rounds, for sure. So we're glad that we have that bye. If you want to follow along with us, follow us at SXRL_official on Twitter, and make sure you check us out. We're entering our 7th season. Been really exciting. Been around here since 2011, and we took a little bit of a break between the generations of consoles, but we got everyone back together, and it's been a blast catching up and meeting new people also. So this is also another big opportunity for us to showcase ourselves.
All right, guys, that is going to be it. Without further ado, let's get on over to these track picks, team versus team, find out where we're going to be racing. Y'all have a few days to get up, get going, and get your setups working. So I'm going to switch on over. As you can see now, got all these tracks loaded up, and it's going to be completely random. We'll find out who's pairing up against who.
Absolutely, and you saw the new logo there. This is going to be the Lucky 21 round for those teams that gambled enough and got into the round of 21. So we're going to start right from the top of the bracket and work our way down. So the first pick of the night is going to be the number 2 Shake and Bake versus the number 21 Mountain Dew Southern Series. Where are they going to be racing?
All right, let's see. Random survey says looks like they will be at Road America.
Road America. Absolutely going to be a challenge at that one. Ford, what do you think that matchup is going to be like?
Well, from my experience in eSparks, there is a lot of, you can save a lot of fuel there, especially for those guys that are running the shifters and everything. It's definitely going to come down to strategy. So I hope everybody gets prepared because I know Shake and Bake's going to bring their A game.
Absolutely. And that's a challenging track. I mean, it's a 4-mile road course. I mean, it's the elevation change and the difference of corners. It's going to be a pretty cool experience to see how those two teams can navigate that monster of a track. All right, so now that leaves us to the next matchup, the second matchup on the bracket. It's the number 15 Piston Cup versus the number 8 American Ethanol. Let's see where they're going to be running at. Pete?
All right, let's see here. Going through, survey says Canadian Tire.
Ooh, so that's definitely a challenging road course. The only one that is outside the United States. It's definitely going to be very tricky, but I'm sure those teams will be definitely ready for the challenge. Ford, what do you think about that matchup there?
That is a fun track. Definitely going to be some exciting battles there. And once again, that I've won there. It can come down to your fuel strategy, especially on 3 times wear. Yeah, anything can happen there.
And it's definitely a challenging one as far as that tight right-hander. And then those last two couple corners, we've seen people spin right there at the end. So, I mean, it's going to be a good one. Definitely want to watch that one. And then moving on, probably the one that we're most interested in, me and Ford, it's going to be the number 5 North American Online Racing versus Fast Family Racing League, number 18. Sorry, I can't even read now. Where are we going to be racing at?
All right, let's see what the random draw says. Looks like y'all are heading to Road America also.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy about that. I'm really happy about that. I was kind of afraid we might get Road America. Wow. I was kind of afraid we were going to get Canadian Tire Watkins Glen, but I love that track. It's actually my favorite, so I'm excited, and I cannot wait to start ripping down that track. And I know Ford really loves that one as well. So bring it on, NAOR. Let's go America racing. And next on our list here, number 10 Unbound versus the number 13 Thursday Night Thunder. Where are those teams going, Pete?
All right, let's find out. Going through now. And survey says Mid-Ohio.
Ooh, Mid-Ohio. So that is probably one of the two tracks that a lot of drivers do not like. It's very challenging. It's very tight, I think. Ford, knows from experience, it's not a very long track, but what makes it the most difficult is that, you're shifting way more. It's very tight, especially with the cup cars, you don't have a lot of straightaway in between these corners.
No. Absolutely not. That's one of the tracks I hate the most, and I try to steer away from it. But yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Absolutely, and it's probably one of 2 of the most evenly matched teams as far as the rankings go, 10 and 13. So definitely going to be a duel that we want to watch there. Moving to the next spot, we got IVRL International Virtual Racing League versus the number 16 seed versus the number 7 of Hybrid. So let's find out where they're racing.
All right, rolling now. Let's find out. And it looks like they are the Roval.
Ooh, that is gonna be a good one. How do you think that match is gonna go?
Now, Randy, Tyler Brown, and a few other those guys. I know Texas Spots has ran well there. That's those three. Like I said, along with a couple of the other guys, that is going to be a good race. I mean, they ran that track not too long ago. Yeah, it is customs, but they have it down to a science. So
Absolutely.
Hybrid
And I
better be
remember-
on their toes.
I remember on the other side of the coin, I don't know if you do, but when we came away from that last race with Hybrid at Texas, one of the drivers, if not the owner, made a comment saying they hoped that they got the Roval because they were super strong there. So I cannot wait for that matchup.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the best ones to watch.
Absolutely. And getting on the other halfway point of the bracket, we are now down to MAGA versus Carolina Racing League. Carolina being the number 17 and MAGA being the number 6. Pete, where are they racing at?
All right, let's find out right now as we're spinning away. Looks like they will be at Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio as well. There we go. So another Mother 2 teams going to the all-challenging Mid-Ohio. I'm actually really happy to see that track on the schedule twice, just because of how challenging it is. It's going to be, showing the drivers, or who is the driver. That this whole round in general, I think, is really going to bring that out. But that track specifically, being how challenging it is, we're going to see some driving for sure. What do you think, Ford?
We're going to see them start practicing tonight.
I'm sure we will. Absolutely. I know they were chomping at the bit to get their track. So, BLM Trump, if you're out there you go. Get to practicing. Mid-Ohio for you guys. All right. Down the list, now we're looking at the most evenly matched up as far as the rankings goes. Number 12, ENEA versus number 11, Above Average NASCAR Heat Friends. I am super excited for this matchup. I know both of those teams, and I've seen them, in their races in the first round, and just based on their skill level, it's going to be a duel. Pete, please tell me it's a good track. Where are they going?
It looks like, when all said and all done, after a spin, we are heading to the Glen. Watkins Glen the first time.
Thank goodness. I cannot wait. That just makes it even better. Watkins Glen being a very fast, challenging, and technical track. I think that's really going to be the key. So, Ford, are you as excited about this one as I am?
I definitely am. One thing they're going to have to watch out for is that bus stop. We're definitely going to be looking at that. So make sure if those guys are listening, make sure you're practicing. Don't cut it, because we will be looking at that. Yeah. We will throw penalties out for that, because you could be majorly fast if you cut that bus stop. But we want to make it as evenly as possible. So definitely practice.
Absolutely. It's definitely going to be one. I know a couple people are probably calling me out in the chat. I am very guilty of cutting the bus stop. I have reformed myself. I do not do that anymore, and I race the track the right way. But yeah, we're definitely going to be watching for that. But I know it's definitely a driver favorite, so I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, he just called you out just as you said that.
Yep.
Cut the track.
There it is. Yep.
So he got your number.
Yep. I see that. I got you. All right. Moving on. I know Pete is most excited about this one of all of us. How about NNR, number 4 seed, taking on number 19, a little on the high side? Where are they going?
All right. Fingers crossed for my guys. Let's see. Survey says Canadian Tire.
Ooh, so we've got some experience in this matchup, so it's definitely going to be on display at a tough track. Canadian Tire being the host of that one. Pete, why don't you tell us what you're most excited about at that one?
Oh, that's man! I tell you what, little on the high side. They impressed me during round one, and of course, I mean, being the broadcaster for NNR, I know what they're capable of on the road courses as well. Looking to see an unknown race up against some guys that I know very very well. So it's I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely going to do my best to be the broadcaster for that race. So little on the high side, NNR. Get to practicing.
Absolutely. We are definitely excited for that one. Now, we've got 2 matchups left and 4 tracks still in the pot. What will they get? We are with OMA, Online Motorsports Association, at number 9 seed, taking on the 14th seed of Wolfpack Racing League. Where are they going?
All right. Wheel of Doom. Could be. We haven't seen it yet. Let's see. Winner, Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio. Ooh, actually, we might have to pick again because we saw that one twice. Did we not?
You got
Yeah, we did. Yep, we have twice, so we're going to have to spin that wheel one more time.
All right, stand by.
I got power. Yay!
There you go. Good to hear.
All right,
the Glen.
Gosh, there it is. Watkins Glen. They are going there. Another, like we said earlier, that, that track definitely brings some awesome racing, very fast. So, we cannot wait to see those teams very evenly matched there at Watkins Glen. So, OMA and Wolfpack, get to practicing. Definitely going to be a good one. And now we only got 3 more left. And 1 matchup left. So, and I know a lot of people out in the community are watching this one. eSpark number 3 going against number 20 Palmetto Racing League. Where are they going to be racing?
Oh boy, here we go. Wheels up, wheels going, wheels round, wheels stopped. Canadian Tire.
I think, let me double check. I think we may have hit that one twice. Let's see, we got, hold on one moment, we got one there. Yep, spinner again.
All right.
Nice try, wheel.
Coming back around. The Glen again.
The Glen again. Yeah, we still have 2 of those, I believe, right? Yep, we're going to have to send it around a 3rd time.
All right. Now, let me ask you, since we're doing this, and to be all fair to everybody out there, is there a max number of times that we'll actually see these before we just say okay? Because the RNG, they could pick the same tracks over and over and over. I mean, we're looking for one certain track.
I mean, we're definitely not looking for one. What we're doing is each track can be run a maximum of 2 times. We have 12 tracks in the pot and only 10 matchups, so only 2 tracks we'll see once, theoretically, unless the Charlotte Roval comes up. Then we will not see Sonoma at all, which I think a lot of people will be happy about, but we're going to keep spinning until we get either the Roval or Sonoma.
All right. Spinning, stopped, and looks like it's going to be the Glen, so I'll spin it again.
Wow, the generator just does not want to give us that last track, does it?
Yep, and then it's going to be Canadian Tire. Has that been picked twice?
Nope. Yep, that one's out. We only got 3 more left.
All right. All right, coming down. They got the Glen again, so going to spin it again.
Boy.
Yeah.
What are the odds? 19 matches or 19?
All right, there it is, the Roval.
The Roval. Wow. So we didn't see Sonoma at all. How about that?
Hey,
what are the odds?
Right, and what are the odds? And just to show everybody, Sonoma is up here. Here it is right there. So Sonoma is actually the top 2. It is on top of the board, right along with every other track. So for all those that didn't want Sonoma, well, there you go. No need.
I was just about to say the same thing.
There it
is.
is.
Concerns about Sonoma, but
and
they got their
we didn't see it. Yep. So we're going to see, instead of all 6, we're going to see all 5 of the other road courses twice. So how about that nice mix? So that'll be really interesting. Before we end this, just a few things. Ford, why don't you tell us what is the matchup that you are looking forward to the most?
I you know, there with everybody, it being a smaller bracket now. I think they're all going to be good. They're all going to have their good points about them. Definitely looking forward to seeing Shake and Bake. They're in the top spots. IBRL is going to have a good matchup. Like I said, it's going to be so hard to call because of the fact that everybody's going to be out there practicing, putting on their best show to advance. So that's a really tough one. Actually, if I have my choice, well, I am going to watch them all.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome. I think, like you said, every single matchup is going to be one to watch, especially with the smaller field. And we know these guys have what it takes to win. They've already won one race. So, what's another one? But it's definitely going to be a different challenge with the road course round. It's really a completely different style of racing than the mile and a half that we were in. And just one thing, going forward, I'm sure there's, I'm going to bring up some frequently asked questions because we've gotten a ton of questions, and we thank you for all the concern and how important this is for everyone in the community. So, I want to go through some frequently asked questions to wrap up the show. One of them being, that we saw that one team got the bye to the 3rd round. That was SXRL. Someone said, so how does the round 2 bye work? Well, basically how it works is whichever team of those 20 teams that we just talked about, whichever team scores the most points in this round will get the bye and a straight shot to round 4, which is the short tracks. And what that means is wherever they are placed on the bracket, whatever team gets the most points, wherever their bracket position was, SXRL will assume that position for the round of super speedways. So that's where they will race because they are guaranteed to have to race the super speedway round, which I'm sure they're definitely preparing for, as we saw Sebi talking about that. So that is the answer to that one. And the other main question that we've been getting is, how are road courses working? What are the specific things that I need to know when practicing, as far as rules and officiating purposes? Well, the big one is going to be cautions. So cautions change on road courses, as we see in real life, where cautions aren't thrown as common as other tracks, just because the danger level is a little less, because drivers that go off course, they're not really in anyone's way, and you're at a slower speed, So how cautions work on the road courses is, instead of the 1 car around because of contact rule, that is no more. Basically how it's going to work is caution will be thrown in 2 circumstances. A, the track is blocked and drivers cannot get past or continue on their lap without hitting a car. That's 1. And 2 is if a driver sustains engine damage because of contact with another. And both of those circumstances have to be proved at the end of the race to the officials, so they will be required to send in a clip, and not a screenshot, but a clip of the incident, and afterwards, and then obviously each caution will be reviewed, and if a false report comes in, there will be a point penalty for that. So make sure that you're following it, and if a clip isn't provided, obviously that'll be a penalty. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. Make sure you're practicing that, and also, that the caution rule was one concern. The other one was it was brought up mileage, because obviously you've seen we're racing 5 different tracks that are actually only raced in 3 separate series. So with Sonoma off the table, the Charlotte Roval and Watkins Glen are the Cup tracks, and then Road America, Mid Ohio, being the Xfinity car track, and then obviously Canadian Tire being the Truck Series track. So everyone was concerned with, how does the mileage work? How do we make these races equal as possible? Well, it goes as follows. Anyone that gets Canadian Tire, Mid Ohio, Road America, or any of those 4 tracks, or 3 tracks, sorry. Those 3 tracks will be 100% length. So because they are lower series, they get the full 100% instead of 50% race distance, which averages between 144 for Canadian Tire to, I believe, 175 miles for the longest. Now, for those of you that have drawn the Roval or Watkins Glen, changes a little bit. Being Cup tracks, Watkins Glen being the shortest track, a 50% race is only about 40-something laps, and that is, I believe it was 110 miles total, which is much lower than the rest of the races. So therefore, if you drew Watkins Glen, you will be doing 100% race as well, which bumps up to 210 miles, which is a little bit higher than some of the others, but in the ballpark. In addition, if you were drawn Charlotte Roval, which is a 400-mile race in real life, obviously we're not going to make you do 400 miles at the Charlotte Roval, so you'll be doing a 50%. So Charlotte Roval will be the only one on 50%. That'll equal 200 miles, so which will be basically around the same. So all races will range between 144 and 210 in as close of a ballpark as possible. But just so you guys know, when you're practicing, those will be the distances. And obviously, of course, if you have any further questions, you can contact Ford Tough or myself, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. But those are the main updates. So as of right now, we're working on the schedule. If you're watching, make sure you contact your owner and make sure they are helping your league schedule with us, so we can get these matches scheduled as quickly as possible. We got a few already confirmed. We're still working on some others, so we're hoping to kick off round 2 on Monday next week. Barring scheduling, we'll see when people can run the races. But yeah, we're going to at least kick off round 2 on Monday, a week from today. And so that gives you guys a solid week of practice time with your track, and we will see you guys soon. So with that, I'll turn
before you go, Sly John, before we wrap it up, I might as well just ask you 2 questions since they were just asked. Wolf Racing wants to know now at Watkins Glen, turn 1, do we have to stay on the course? And a lot of guys hitting 1 wide to the left. Is that okay? I'm not quite sure if I missed something there or if it's just the way.
I think I know it's over the rumble strip, and I've seen a lot of guys do it. I don't see a problem with that as long as they come back on the track, carefully.
Absolutely. And I think this will clarify that for you. Good point there, Wolf Racing. So the rule is, as far as competitive advantage is concerned, and this applies to all tracks. If you put 4 tires in the grass to gain a competitive advantage, determined by the officials, if you gain a competitive advantage through grass or sand or whatever have you, that'll be a penalty. And how that will be assessed is it's not a pass-through, it's a stop and go. So let's say, for example, at Watkins Glen, you cut the bus stop. You just cut right through the grass, don't get a penalty, move on. You will have to make your car come to a full stop to the on the outside portion of the carousel off the track, and then go again. And what we mean, and we want to clarify this, make sure we're all clear. Because the common question after I say that is, well, what if I go spinning? Say I'm at Road America and I blow a corner and I go flying into the grass, into the sand. Do I get a penalty for that? No, because you didn't gain a competitive advantage. You actually, hurt yourself, obviously. So, we will, before each race, make sure you are aware of your track's specific competitive advantages. But for those of you out there, just so you know, during your practice, the main one, obviously, everyone points to is Watkins Glen's bus stop. The only other one that we really define is Canadian Tire, the last couple of turns. You can cut through the grass there and not incur a penalty there. So we'll be watching those. With the Roval not being
He's
played,
referring to.
Good.
He's referring to turn 1 right after the start
Yeah.
finish.
Oh, yeah. So that's why you brought me to that. So the specific question you're asking is, okay, what if I go on the left side of the rumble strip at Watkins Glen? Well, if you remember, that's all asphalt. So therefore, that's in play. I know a lot of people's driving style, sometimes to carry a lot of speed, they cross over that rumble strip. That's fine. There's several times during the Roval where people cross over a rumble strip, and that's fine. As long as you're on pavement, that's fine. But if you're crossing a rumble strip and gaining advantage by putting all 4 tires in grass or sand, that's going to be a penalty. So there you go.
All right, and then another. We were under the assumption. Hold on, I just scrolled past it. We're under the assumption we're only picking Cup tracks for this round.
Well, you are absolutely wrong, sir.
Okay.
We apologize for that, but yes, the reason why that we only picked, we picked from the pool of tracks is because for the viewers and for the driver's standpoint, I know we saw this early on in the mile-and-a-half round where we saw 3 Kansas races, I believe, in 3 or 4 days. To give the viewers and the drivers the best NASCAR Heat 5 experience and to show off, the most games and the most tracks that NASCAR has to offer as a whole, we elected to include all 6 tracks in the drawing. It'll definitely give a variety as there are 10 races. I don't think, anyone would want to see 3 of Sonoma, 3 of the Roval, and 3 of Watkins Glen plus 1 other. I mean, it really comes down to variety. And each track has its own racing to offer. We feel they're all fantastic in their driving, and we decided to include them. So as NASCAR does, as we do. And just as a plug for NASCAR Heat 5, we are promoting NASCAR Heat 5 with this tournament. We started this right after the unveil of Heat 5. So if you don't have a copy and you're just watching, go out and get yourself one and have as much fun as these guys in the tournament are. But yeah, we're really trying to show off all the capabilities of Heat 5, and one of those that has come into the picture since Heat 4 that we absolutely love as drivers is that we can take any car to any track with the exception of dirt. So it's really cool that we can do that and take these cars to different tracks that you don't see in the actual schedule. So that's why we are definitely taking advantage of this opportunity to include those tracks and see what they have to offer for us.
You got it. All right, Fort Tough, you got anything?
No, sir. I am all set. I'm going to enjoy the power of being back on for a little while, and I'm going to bed.
All right, so Sly, when will we see the first round 2 race?
Well, that I wish I had a solid answer for that. We're officially going to kick off racing. We're allowing racing to start on Monday. I believe that's August 17th. As soon as the schedule gets posted, we will let everyone know as soon as possible. But that's the target date we had. Unfortunately, we're running into issues where, some drivers in a couple of the leagues are having issues with running that early. They're asking for, the week after that. So we'll see, what we can do as far as scheduling wise. We're still, it's definitely still a work on progress, but, we'll try to get them as soon as possible. But, yeah, good luck in the practice.
All right, so everybody's got, what's today, the 10th, so everybody's got at least a week to get on out there, get to your track. If you need to go back and rewatch this stream, if you just wanted to see the pick, which I know a lot of y'all did, please, you can always fast forward through. If you know somebody that wasn't able to catch it, please feel free to send it on. I'll be posting a link to this feed or to this stream in the Fast Family Discord, as well as the Facebook page that Rock NASCAR takes care of. But yeah, please, by all means, give me a follow right here. Repeat 1975. Definitely want to thank all of y'all that did tonight, as well as the couple of subs. I will be back tomorrow night with the American F Cup Series for their season-ending finale at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's gonna be a great race. 50%. They turned it down from 100%. I don't know about 4 hours around that place, but it's gonna be a fun race. Yours truly, Slide Job, will be in there, and of course, I will have all the action. I'll either have the one and only Rick James in the booth with me tomorrow night, or it might be NNR Asbel. We'll have to see. But either way, looking forward to seeing any and all of y'all out there tomorrow night. Until then, please, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay away from each other most of all, and y'all have a good night. Be safe where you got to get to. Later.